It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. So go get your fucking booster shot and spend the day like I'm going to spend the day. Pretty much beat the shit. Because, I don't know, I get them, because I've lost too many people to fucking COVID and don't want to be, one of those numbers. But, man, this motherfucker knocked me for a loop. But on to better things. Dennis Daniel has put out this magazine, Cinema Macabre here, which I believe is available on Amazon, but if not, maybe you can email Dennis Daniel or, whatever and get it. But, yeah, this has been a long time in coming. Has a lot of really good stuff in it. Contributing writers, you got Heather Drain, Vanessa Hex, Deborah Lamb, Preston Fossil, Gail Flug, Pam Murray, Chris Gilpin, Tim Ritter, William O'Donnell, R.J. Galliantine, and a bunch of other people, and Dennis, of course. And my interview was in this, conducted by Chris Gilpin. It's sort of, let me see here, I'll just get right to it. It's sort of controversial because when Chris actually interviewed me, it was for another magazine and they wanted to censor a bunch of shit, and of course we don't go for that. So it was sitting in limbo until Chris approached Dennis here to try to get this in, and I'm honored that somebody actually ran an interview with me in the first issue of a magazine. So it's all cool. And it's, here we go. Crime Times in the Big Apple. That's the interview there. Obviously, I'm going to say some shit here that's going to piss fucking people off. Because, I don't know. I tell the truth. I call it like I see it. I know there's a whole fucking deal in here. There's a big thing. Okay, I'll admit it. In this magazine, I call Linda Blair a cunt. And there's a reason I called her a cunt. It seems that, they had a big deal about her back in the day of bringing her to Chiller. And they bring her to Chiller, and they're all, ooh, Linda, Linda, Linda. Okay, but then Linda started getting really upset because a couple still dealers were selling the crucifixion photo. So the promoter got a hold of me and goes, look, can you tell those guys to basically not do this because she's really getting fucking tweaked about it. I said, let me see what I can do. Well, being that I knew all the dealers there, I walked over, I said, look, Blair's getting, her panties in a fucking bunch over this shit. Let's not sell these anymore. There's plenty of other shit you can sell them. So I go back to Linda and tell her, okay, I solved the problem. Those will not be sold anymore. She didn't even thank me. So later on in the day, I was friends with an actress known as Nikki Fritz, who unfortunately is no longer with us. She passed away from cancer about 2 or 3 years ago, which was a fucking shame because she was a nice lady. Well, anyway, she asked me if I could go ask Linda if it was okay to bring her down from her table, do a quick, photo thing, and go back. So this is the way I approached it. I walked down and I said, hey, Linda, there's a fellow actress upstairs. She wants to know if she could come down real quick and get a picture, and, I'll watch her table. Linda turns to me and goes, she'll have to wait in line like everybody else. I said, oh, really? I said, well, what if I want something from you? You can wait in line like everybody else. Now I'm like, something, fuck you. All right, so I go back and tell Nikki, I don't even know why you want a picture with her because she's a fucking cunt. So anyway, the weekend goes on. I had nothing else to do with her. At the end of the weekend, the promoter approaches me and he goes, listen, Linda says, she'll take pictures with the staff if you want to. And I said, I don't. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I don't want a picture with her. I said, I could care less about her. And I said, dude, you don't know what perhaps she's been pulling behind the scenes and how rude she is. And I said, I just refuse to have anything to do with her. So yeah, that's my estimation. But anyway, pick this up, Volume 1, Number 1. Available on Amazon, and Dennis also has a YouTube thing, Dennis Daniel, wait a minute, no, I wrote this down. I gotta write things down. Cinema Macabre DVD Reviews, which is on YouTube. And like I said, I try to push, other people's stuff as long as they're cool with me, and Dennis has been very cool with me. So actually, I just got this thing yesterday and read it last night, and it's really a cool magazine, really full of some really good stuff. And like I said, my interview in there might tweak people off, but since when do I ever give a fuck about that? But let's go back to our black and white stuff. Now here's a deal. I just picked this up off of Edward R. Hamilton bookseller. Write that down because you can save a lot of money, because this thing has the 6 Inner Sanctum mysteries on it, and it was $14.95. And you guys like slipcovers? Look at this. We got a nifty fucking slipcover here, which enhances the viewing of the movie. And you get a cool book, and you get the movies, 6 movies on 2 Blu-rays. And this was done by Universal, I believe, around mid-1943 or something, because they made a deal with Simon & Schuster to get the Inner Sanctum mysteries and film them. And this was going to be a vehicle for Lon Chaney Jr., as he was in all 6 of them. And, a lot of people, like myself, back then we were kids. I mean, I said I was a huge Lon Chaney Jr. fan. But this wasn't monsters or anything like this. This was more mysteries, murders, things like that, with a supernatural twist. And Chaney really shows off his acting chops here, because he's not playing the dumb brute Lenny or the tormented soul, the Wolfman. He has like a mustache through the whole thing. He's playing doctors, scientists, whatever. The one I just checked out last night was Weird Woman, co-starring Anne Gwynn and Evelyn Ankers. And it's about basically Chaney is Norman, a doctor who is over in the South Sea Islands and is doing research on voodoo stuff, and there's a lot of voodoo stuff going on. But in one instance, he actually breaks a fucking circle and goes through all kinds of stuff, and they have to cast a bunch of spells on him or he's going to die. So he falls in love with this island girl, Paula, who was trained by a high priestess, and they go back to America to publish his book. Well, unbeknownst to him, a woman he left in America, played by Evelyn Ankers, is running a big party for him, and when he shows up with his new bride, she's a little bit pissed off. Now, the bulk of the film will now concern her trying to discredit Paula and trying to run her out of the country, and Norman gets a little bit tweaked about the whole voodoo thing, and he goes, you got to realize that science works and this doesn't work, and he basically has her burn all her stuff, including this locket that she's had when she was a little girl. Well, when the locket gets thrown on the fire, you hear a gunshot, and a rival of Norman, who was in a position to get some kind of teaching gig at the college he's at, kills himself. And this is all set up by Evelyn, because she knows this guy basically plagiarized a bunch of shit to get the job, and she says that Paula's going to turn him in, and then, this and that and the other thing. Then the guy's wife turns on Paula. Well, they do a bunch of voodoo behind the scenes that convinces the Evelyn character that she's going to die in 13 days because she won't reveal who lied and who caused the death. It all comes down to a screeching climax, but it's pretty good, and it's more adult-oriented, for lack of better words, where you're dwelling on, infidelity and certain shit like that. But all of these are pretty cool. They were published by Simon & Schuster. I guess it was a radio thing, and they were forbidden to use the creaking door, so they had a head in a jar that's a little bit blurred, talking about a pulsating blob of flesh, which is the brain and stuff. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool deal, and like I say, a lot of people just go out and buy shit as soon as it comes out. Check out the bookseller site, Edward R. Hamilton Bookseller. Just punch it in, and Blu-rays, things like that. A lot of the shit that you guys are paying through the nose for winds up there cheap. So sometimes it pays to hold off, because that Andy Milligan box set that was going for a couple hundred is there for like 90 and things like that. So it's all good. And like I said, I see a deal, I turn you people onto it. So that's all we got for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the flip side.